Welcome to The Business of Football, a documentary exploring the complex and multifaceted world of the business of the beautiful game. From the transfer market to the financial aspects of running a club, the business of football plays a crucial role in shaping the sport we all love. In this film, we'll take a deep dive into the inner workings of the business of football, examining the various parties involved, the sources of revenue, and the challenges and controversies that have plagued the sport. Whether you're a die-hard football fan or simply interested in the business side of things, this documentary will give you an inside look at the fascinating world of the business of football. So sit back and join us as we explore the business side of the beautiful game. In the world of football, a well-structured club is essential for success both on and off the field. The structure of a club refers to the way in which it is organized and the various roles and responsibilities that are assigned to different individuals within the organization. Without a clear structure in place, a club can struggle to achieve its goals and may even fall behind its competitors. The importance of club structure is evident in many different areas, including player development, team performance, and financial management. A well-structured club can provide a clear path for young players to progress from the youth academy to the first team, helping to ensure that a steady stream of talent is always available to the club. On the field, a clear structure can help to foster teamwork and communication, making it more likely that the team will perform well. And off the field, a well-structured club can be better positioned to generate revenue and make smart investments. But building and maintaining a successful club structure is not always easy. It requires the dedication of club officials, coaches, and staff, and a willingness to adapt as the game and the environment change. The process starts with an effective introduction of the club, its goals, values, and how it wants to achieve them. There are several different types of football club structures that can be used to organize and govern a football club. Here are a few common examples. Public Limited Company, PLC. A PLC is a type of business structure in which the club shares are owned by shareholders and traded on the stock market. This type of structure is common among larger, professionally run football clubs. Private Limited Company, LTD. An LTD is a type of business structure in which the club shares are owned by a small group of private shareholders and are not traded on the stock market. This type of structure is often used by smaller, semi-professional football clubs. Cooperative. A cooperative is a type of business structure in which the club is owned and controlled by its members, who are also its customers or employees. This type of structure is sometimes used by football clubs that are owned and run by their supporters. Community Interest Company. A CIC is a type of business structure that is designed to benefit the community rather than generate profit for shareholders. This type of structure is sometimes used by football clubs that are owned and run by the local community. Nonprofit organization. A nonprofit organization is a type of business structure that is designed to serve a specific social cause or group of individuals rather than generate profit. This type of structure is sometimes used by football clubs that are owned and run by charitable or educational organizations. The hierarchy in a football club refers to the chain of command and levels of authority within the organization. It determines the relationships between different members of the club, from senior management and executives to general employees. At the top of the hierarchy in most football clubs is the owner or chairman, who holds ultimate decision-making power and is responsible for setting the overall direction and strategy of the club. Below the owner or chairman, there is typically a board of directors or other senior management team, which is responsible for implementing the owner's vision and overseeing the day-to-day operations of the club. In addition to the owner and senior management, there are also several other key positions within the hierarchy of a football club, including technical director. A technical director is a professional who is responsible for overseeing and managing the technical aspects of a production, project, or business. They play a critical role in ensuring that all technical processes run smoothly and efficiently, and they work to deliver high-quality results. Here are some of the key responsibilities of a technical director. Inspecting and maintaining equipment. Technical directors are responsible for inspecting and maintaining all technical equipment, including audio and visual equipment, lighting systems, and other production equipment. They ensure that the equipment is in proper working condition and identify and troubleshoot any defects. Leading a technical team. Technical directors often lead a small team of engineers and other technical professionals. They are responsible for managing the team, setting work schedules, and establishing targets and goals, analyzing operations, and providing cost-effective suggestions for improvement. Technical directors are constantly looking for ways to improve processes and increase efficiency. They analyze operations and identify areas for improvement, and they provide cost-effective suggestions for how to optimize processes. Streamlining processes. Technical directors work to streamline processes so that the business or production operates at maximum efficiency. This can involve implementing new technologies, reorganizing workflows, or finding other ways to eliminate waste and inefficiency. The head coach is the leader of a sports team and is responsible for overseeing all aspects of the team's performance. They play a critical role in shaping the direction and strategy of the team, and they work closely with other members of the coaching staff, players, and other stakeholders to achieve success. Head coach, coordinating tryouts and assigning players to positions. Head coaches are responsible for coordinating sports tryouts and evaluating the skills and abilities of potential players. They then assign individuals to positions that suit their strengths and help the team perform at its best. Obtaining sports-related equipment. Head coaches are responsible for ensuring that the team has all of the necessary equipment for training and competition. This includes everything from balls and nets to uniforms and other gear. Scheduling and communicating training. Head coaches are responsible for scheduling and communicating training sessions and other team activities. They ensure that players are aware of their responsibilities and are prepared for upcoming competitions. Developing competitive strategies. Head coaches work alongside other stakeholders, including assistant coaches and players, to develop competitive strategies for the team. They analyze opponents, identify weaknesses and strengths, and devise tactics that give the team the best chance of success. Supervising and aiding assistant coaches. Head coaches are responsible for supervising and aiding assistant coaches to ensure that they are performing their duties effectively. They may also help to develop the careers of their assistants and prepare them for leadership roles in the future. Engaging the team in meaningful conversations. Head coaches need to be effective communicators and be able to engage their players in meaningful conversations. This involves listening actively and with the goal of understanding, asking open-ended questions, and providing feedback and guidance. Assistant coaches. Assistant coaches play a crucial role in supporting the head coach and helping to ensure the success of a sports team. Here are some key responsibilities of an assistant coach. Supporting the head coach. The primary responsibility of an assistant coach is to support the head coach and help them achieve their objectives. This involves working closely with the head coach to develop strategies and teaching schemes and motivate players. Being knowledgeable about strategies and rules. Assistant coaches should be well informed about the strategies and rules of the team and its players. They should be able to provide guidance and support to players and help them understand the tactics and requirements of the game. Keeping statistics and managing paperwork. Assistant coaches may be responsible for keeping statistics on players and compiling eligibility reports. They may also be involved in making new registrations and managing other administrative tasks. Working one-on-one with children. In some cases, assistant coaches may work one-on-one with children, providing individualized coaching and support. They may also be responsible for keeping kids engaged, creating an inclusive environment, and ensuring safety. Developing players. Assistant coaches can play a key role in the development of players, both individually and as a team. They may work with players to improve their skills, techniques, and understanding of the game. Players. Players are at the bottom of the hierarchy within a football club, and they are responsible for performing on the pitch. They report to the head coach and assistant coaches. Overall, the hierarchy in a football club is designed to ensure that everyone knows their place within the organization and can work effectively to achieve the club's goals. The business of football. Running a football club is a costly enterprise, and clubs rely on various sources of funding to survive and thrive, from the salaries of the players and staff to the cost of maintaining facilities and infrastructure. There are many expenses that clubs must cover in order to operate. Without sufficient funding, clubs may struggle to compete at the highest levels of the game, or even to survive at all. In this article, we'll explore the various sources of funding that clubs rely on to stay afloat, and the challenges that they face in securing the financial resources they need to succeed. One of the main sources of revenue for football clubs is ticket sales. Clubs can generate significant income by selling tickets to matches, both home and away. This is especially important for clubs competing at the top levels of the game, where demand for tickets is often high. However, clubs must also consider the cost of maintaining and improving their stadiums, as well as the cost of security and other services required to host matches. Another important source of revenue for football clubs is merchandise sales. Clubs can generate income by selling branded merchandise, such as team kits, scarves, and other branded products. This can be an important source of revenue for smaller clubs, as well as a way for larger clubs to engage with their fan base and build brand awareness. Sponsorships are another important source of revenue for football clubs. Clubs can enter into sponsorship deals with companies, which can take a variety of forms, including shirt sponsorship, stadium naming rights, and training kit sponsorship. These deals can generate significant income for clubs, especially those competing at the highest levels of the game. Television rights are also an important source of revenue for football clubs. Clubs can generate income by selling the rights to broadcast their matches to television networks or streaming services. This can be a significant source of income for top-level clubs, as the demand for live, full broadcasts is often high. Player sales can also generate significant revenue for football clubs. Clubs can sell players to other clubs in the transfer market, and the transfer fees that they receive in return can be a major source of income. However, clubs must also consider the cost of signing and developing players, as well as the impact that player sales can have on team performance. Finally, clubs can also generate revenue through corporate hospitality and other commercial ventures. This can include offering VIP packages and other amenities to businesses, as well as generating income from advertising and other commercial partnerships. As we've seen, there are many different ways that football clubs can generate revenue. However, the business of football is a complex and multifaceted aspect of the sport, and clubs must navigate a variety of challenges and controversies in order to succeed. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at some of these challenges and the impact that they have on the business of football. One of the major challenges facing football clubs is financial sustainability. Running a football club is a costly enterprise, and clubs must generate sufficient revenue to cover their expenses. This can be especially challenging for smaller clubs or those that are not competing at the highest levels of the game. Clubs must carefully manage their finances in order to remain financially sustainable and avoid financial difficulties or insolvency. Player contracts can sometimes sabotage a club's ability to be profitable in a few different ways. One way is through high salaries. Players at the top levels of the game can command high salaries, and clubs may struggle to afford these salaries if they are not generating sufficient revenue. This can lead to financial difficulties and even financial insolvency in some cases. For example, Barcelona has struggled with financial difficulties in recent years, in part due to high player salaries and long-term contracts that have limited their ability to generate revenue through player sales. Another way that player contracts can sabotage a club's profitability is through long-term contracts. Players may sign long-term contracts with clubs, which can be financially risky for the club if the player's performance declines or they suffer an injury. This can lead to clubs being stuck paying high salaries to underperforming players. Juventus, for example, has faced criticism for signing players to long-term contracts and then being unable to offload them when their performance declined. Transfer fees can also be a challenge for clubs when it comes to player contracts. When clubs sell players to other clubs, they may receive a transfer fee in return. However, if a club has signed a player to a long-term contract, they may not be able to sell the player until the contract has expired, which can limit their ability to generate revenue from player sales. Manchester United has faced criticism in recent years for not being able to generate sufficient revenue through player sales, in part due to the long-term contracts that the club has signed with its players. Finally, player contracts can also include buyback clauses, which allow the club that sold the player to have the option to re-sign them for a predetermined fee. This can limit a club's ability to generate revenue from player sales if they are unable to sell the player to another club because of a buyback clause. Overall, player contracts can be a challenge for football clubs when it comes to profitability, and clubs must carefully consider the financial implications of signing players to long-term contracts. Player transfers are a critical aspect of professional football, as they allow clubs to acquire new talent and build their teams for success on the field. The process of a player transfer involves several different parties, each with their own specific roles and responsibilities. At the core of the transfer process is the player himself. If the player is under contract with a club, the club wishing to acquire the player will typically need to negotiate a transfer fee with the player's current club. This transfer fee is a payment made by the acquiring club to the selling club in exchange for the rights to the player. The two clubs involved in the transfer process are also key players. The selling club will often be motivated to sell a player as they may be looking to raise funds, or they may see the player as no longer being a valuable asset to them. On the other hand, the acquiring club will be looking to add a player that they believe will help improve their team. Agents and representatives are also important players in the transfer process. They can help facilitate the negotiations between the two clubs and can also advise the player on the best decision for his career. FIFA, the governing body of world football, also has a role in the transfer process. FIFA's regulations on the status and transfer of players sets out the rules that govern international transfers, including the requirements for international clearance and the deadlines for registering players with their new clubs. In addition, there are many financial stakeholders like sponsors and shareholders who are also impacted by player transfer as they affect the team's finances. Overall, player transfers are complex transactions that involve many different parties, each with their own interests and goals. It's important for all parties to work together to ensure that the transfer process is conducted in an orderly and fair manner, and that the best interests of the players, the clubs, and the sport are taken into account. Release clauses. A release clause, also known as a waiver clause or release and discharge clause, is a provision that can be included in a contract or other legal agreement that allows one party to be released from their obligations under the agreement. There are many different types of release clauses that can be used in a variety of situations. Here are a few examples. Release clauses are commonly found in player contracts in professional football. These clauses allow a player to leave their club for a predetermined fee, rather than the club being able to demand a transfer fee from any interested parties. There are several types of release clauses that may be included in a player's contract. Fixed release clause. This type of clause sets a specific transfer fee that a player can be purchased for by another club. For example, a player may have a fixed release clause of 50 million euros, meaning that any club interested in signing the player must pay this amount in order to complete the transfer. Minimum release clause. This type of clause sets a minimum transfer fee that must be met in order for a player to leave their club. For example, a player may have a minimum release clause of 30 million euros, meaning that any interested club must pay at least this amount in order to sign the player. Percentage release clause. This type of clause specifies that a percentage of any transfer fee paid for a player must be paid to the player's former club. For example, a player may have a percentage release clause of 30%, meaning that if a club pays 50 million euros for the player, 15 million euros of that fee must be paid to the player's former club. Buyback clause. This type of clause allows a player's former club to re-sign the player for a predetermined fee. For example, a player may have a buyback clause of 20 million euros, meaning that if the player is sold to another club, their former club has the right to re-sign the player for this fee. These are just a few examples of the types of release clauses that may be included in a player's contract. It is important for clubs and players to carefully consider the terms of these clauses and how they may impact a player's career. UEFA Champions League. The Champions League is the most prestigious club competition in football, featuring the best teams from across Europe. It is organized by the Union of European Football Associations, UEFA, and generates a significant amount of revenue for participating clubs and for the UEFA itself. The prize money for the Champions League is distributed to clubs in a number of ways. A portion of the money is given to clubs that qualify for the group stage of the competition, with the amount increasing for each round that a club progresses. The finalist clubs also receive a significant payout, with the winner receiving even more. In addition to prize money, clubs also benefit from increased TV revenues and ticket sales due to their participation in the Champions League. The competition also helps to increase the value of sponsorship deals and merchandise sales for participating clubs. The revenue generated by the Champions League is distributed throughout the footballing ecosystem, with a portion of the money going to national football associations and leagues. This helps to fund grassroots football and improve infrastructure at all levels of the game. While the Champions League generates a significant amount of money for participating clubs and football as a whole, it is important to note that not all clubs benefit equally. The financial gap between the biggest clubs in Europe and smaller clubs is significant, and the distribution of Champions League revenue does not completely bridge that gap. However, the competition does provide a valuable source of income for clubs of all sizes and helps to drive the growth and development of football around the world. Corruption scandals. In the world of football, the issue of corruption is a prevalent one that has been ongoing for many years. The Federation International Football Association, or FIFA, is the largest governing body in football and is responsible for organizing and overseeing international tournaments such as the World Cup. However, FIFA has been plagued by accusations of corruption for many years, with the first notable instances being noticed in 2010, when the 2018 and 2022 World Cup were awarded to Russia and Qatar, respectively.
The 2022 FIFA World Cup is Qatar.
The specific nature of corruption within FIFA is complex and multifaceted. It ranges from bribes and kickbacks in the awarding of World Cup hosting rights to unethical and illegal practices in the transfer market of players. Additionally, FIFA officials have been indicted on charges of money laundering, wire fraud, and racketeering. These allegations have led to multiple investigations and arrests of high-ranking FIFA officials, which has caused a significant negative impact on the reputation of the organization. The public and media have called for greater transparency and accountability within FIFA in order to prevent corruption in the future. Youth academies. The youth academy system is a crucial part of a football club's business model. It's a long-term investment that not only helps to produce young talent for the first team, but also generates revenue for the club. For teams like Chelsea, who have a well-established youth academy system, this can mean big profits. When a young player is developed in a team's academy, they are more likely to have a strong emotional connection to the club. This can make them more likely to sign with the team when they turn professional. Additionally, when these young players develop into top talents, they can be sold to other teams for large transfer fees, providing a significant financial boost for the club. Chelsea's youth academy has produced some of the world's best players, such as John Terry, who played for the team for nearly 20 years and became the club captain. And now they have players such as Mason Mount, Reece James, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who have become first-team regulars. Furthermore, the success of youth academies can also attract other top young talent to the club, creating a positive feedback loop of talent development and financial gain. Chelsea's youth academy has become a major attraction for young players, with many of the world's top prospects vying for a spot at the club's training ground. Youth academies not only help to produce top talent for the club, but they can also generate significant revenue through transfer fees and the sale of merchandise featuring academy graduates. This makes them a vital part of any successful football club's business model, and for Chelsea, it's been a major way for the club to make money. Technology has had a significant impact on the game of football, both on and off the pitch. On the pitch, technology has been used to improve player performance and the overall quality of the game. For example, GPS tracking systems are now commonly used by coaches to monitor player movement and fatigue during training and matches. This allows coaches to tailor training regimes and make informed substitutions to ensure players are performing at their best. Technology has also been used to improve officiating in the game. The Video Assistant Referee (VAR) system, which was first introduced at the 2018 World Cup, allows officials to review video footage of key incidents during a match to help make accurate decisions. While the use of VAR has been controversial, it has been shown to significantly reduce the number of incorrect decisions made by officials. Off the pitch, technology has transformed the way football clubs operate and interact with their fans. Clubs now use social media and other online platforms to engage with their supporters and share news and updates. Clubs have also adopted new technologies to improve the matchday experience for fans, such as mobile ticketing and contactless payments. Overall, the use of technology in football has brought many benefits, but it has also raised questions about its impact on the sport and its future direction. Some have expressed concerns about the increasing reliance on technology and the potential for it to erode the human element of the game. Others have called for a more measured approach to the use of technology in football, with a focus on finding the right balance between innovation and tradition. How the COVID-19 pandemic affected football. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a major impact on football clubs all around the world. The outbreak of the virus in late 2019 led to widespread disruptions in the sports industry, and football was no exception. One of the major ways in which the pandemic affected football clubs was through the cancellation or postponement of matches. Many leagues and tournaments were put on hold as governments implemented lockdown measures and social distancing guidelines in an effort to curb the spread of the virus. Another significant way in which the pandemic affected football clubs was through the financial impact. The lack of live match day revenue and the associated loss of income from ticket sales, corporate hospitality, and merchandising has put severe pressure on the financial stability of many clubs, especially smaller ones. Another impact was on the players' health as well as mental well-being. In addition to the physical risks posed by the virus to players and staff, the pandemic has also taken a toll on their mental health. The uncertainty and isolation caused by the pandemic have led to increased levels of stress and anxiety, especially among those who have been forced to quarantine. Finally, clubs had to adapt to new safety and health protocols to continue games, like contact tracing, testing, and isolation. As the final moments of our documentary on the business of football come to a close, it's important to take a step back and consider the complexities and nuances of this multi-billion-dollar industry. From the delicate balancing act of managing player contracts and transfer fees to the ever-evolving landscape of sponsorship deals and revenue streams, running a successful football club is no easy task. At the top of the hierarchy, clubs like Manchester United, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich have the financial resources and global brand recognition to compete at the highest levels of the game. But for smaller clubs, the challenge is different. They must find ways to generate revenue and build a winning team, all while remaining financially stable. We've seen the positive impact that a successful football club can have on a community, providing jobs, boosting the local economy, and uniting people with a common passion. But we've also seen the darker side of the business, with cases of corruption and financial mismanagement tarnishing the reputation of the sport. As fans, it's important that we continue to support our clubs and demand transparency and accountability from those in charge. And as the industry continues to evolve, let us hope that the focus remains on the beautiful game and not just the bottom line. As always, thank you for watching. We hope you've gained a better understanding of the business of football and the many factors that make it such a fascinating and challenging field.